This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, because them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.
And I do want to address the Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Listen, I'm one of the guys that just simply don't believe in Anthony Richardson or Will Levis for the Texans. I think specifically Anthony Richardson, I think a good scenario for him will be for a team that made it to the playoffs but may need a quarterback for the future. Seattle, right, where you're talking about sitting and learning. I know they're going to bring back Geno, I think, on a team-friendly deal, or they can get Geno back for maybe 2 years, get him on that, get him back over in Seattle. But, man, I think Anthony Richardson and Pete Carroll and sitting behind Geno for some time and learning would be a perfect situation. Maybe like, in the perfect world, stashing them for Minnesota, something like that. But Anthony Richardson is a quarterback who I think lacks a lot of passing tools, which is what I like, right?
And has a lot of potential, right?
He has a lot of potential, but that potential isn't for the Texans, right? Because I think that potential is for when it's time for that potential. By the time he gets on that field to play football, that potential should immediately come out because he's waiting to learn how to play in the NFL. The Texans need a quarterback right now. I think if you put Anthony Richardson in the Texans situation and expect for him to play year one, it's going to be a huge failure. Same with Will Levis.
Right. So basically, if you do go the Anthony Richardson route, you're going to have to get a gap quarterback. You're going to have to get Derek Carr. You're going to have to get Jacoby Brissett. So that's why I don't want him at 2. I don't think they're going to go after him at 12 because I mean you have this draft is so great at positional players. I don't think you gamble at getting a quarterback at 12. You get it at 2, you get it over with, and you move on. That's my opinion. I think that's what you need to do, and just build like you've been saying, just build your roster through the draft.
Can I just say something about Anthony Richardson? Because I know I'm probably the only one that likes him at all, but Anthony Richardson, to me, is that athletic freak, and we know that D'Amico likes mobile quarterbacks. He's a 6'4", 240-pound quarterback that could potentially run a 4.4. He already runs a sub 4.5. So he's saying that he can run a sub 4.4. I think it was 4.58. I believe that he ran in high school. He could throw 70 yards. Yes, he's completely underdeveloped as a passer. 100% agree. But he only started having a quarterback coach 1 year ago. It's not like
his wide receiver group was terrible this past season.
Yes, and horrible, right? So the thing is, we're basing a lot of things on what he is already, and his ceiling is actually very, very high. In fact, I believe he has the highest ceiling of all top 4 quarterbacks that we're talking about. So, because of his athleticism, right? The scouts have said that he's a mix between a wide receiver and a linebacker because of his speed and his size. He hurdles like a Josh Allen, and he he throws with a cannon. I actually said my hot take for him was that if he goes into the right place, he can be a better Cam Newton eventually. Not year 1, not year 2, eventually. So I think there is a place for him. I actually think that he could end up at the Panthers, and in year 3 could really ball out. And I know that he's so underdeveloped now, which is why I think a lot of Texans fans don't want him. But to say that he's so raw that he's not going to eventually be something, I think is wrong. He can actually be something. And just on the Will Levis front, Will Levis also did not have the best receivers. Had probably one of the worst O-lines in the country.
All of his guys left.
All of his guys left. He broke his finger, he hurt his shoulder, and he hurt his toe, and still played. And so
and drinks mayo in his coffee, like.
I think that's probably helping him, but nonetheless, Wan'Dale Robinson hasn't done much, but Will Levis got him drafted essentially. If you look at a lot of the throws that he makes, he hits his receivers in his hands. His receivers just don't catch the ball. And the other thing is he's a bully on the field. So when the play breaks down, he will just truck you over, and go through 3 or 4 dudes to get another 5, 6, 7 yards. That game in 2021 against LSU, when you saw him doing that over and over again, it's just like Insanity. So I don't think that any of the 4 top quarterbacks are completely off the table. I think Nick and D'Amico are talking about all 4. I'm sure they have preferences already, but I think at the combine and pro days, I think a lot of the expectations are going to change. Shout out to Noah, who's probably watching, who brought this up. Last year, Evan Neal was a consensus pick by every expert, right? We were going to have Evan Neal. 2 weeks before the draft, we got Derek Stingley. So I mean, the combine and pro days are going to change, and how we view these quarterbacks now, just wait another month until we see how everyone is going to view these quarterbacks.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.